All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er update. A lot of news in Niner land. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. 2 locations. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And this video is also brought to you by Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. All right, let's talk a little 49ers. The mini camp is done, and now it's a 40-day off period until the Niners hit the field for training camp in mid to late July. So that's what's coming up for the 49ers. They will be, back on the field in mid to late July, and we'll get a good look at them at that point as far as what they are and what they look like and so on and so forth. Now, as far as some of the headlines surrounding them today, I thought one of the funny things that I saw today is Malik Mustafa's mother, and I think her name's Dee Miles, went on Twitter and said that she's officially divorcing her NFL team of choice. It's been the Dallas Cowboys for the last 48 years, but now that her son is a 49er, she is divorcing the Cowboys after 48 years to become a 49er fan. So welcome, Dee Miles, to the 49er fan family. And you made a good decision. And the Niners made a very good decision to draft your son, Malik Mustafa, who just looks like a monster on the practice field. So D Miles, come on down, the newest 49er fan. One interesting little transaction note from around the league. The Carolina Panthers today cut ex-49er offensive lineman Il Manning off their practice squad. He's now a free agent. The Niners have already had Manning in at least twice. They signed him as an undrafted free agent out of Hawaii, and then he went to Arizona. And then when Arizona cut him loose, he came back to the Niners. He's played left tackle in college. He's got a body of more of a center or a guard. I think he's a pretty good prospect, and it'll be interesting to see if they try to bring him back and for a third stint, or if he's just a 2 stints and that's it for Il Manning with the 49ers. Topic number 3 today on the 49er update is Logan Thomas's contract details are out. He had 55 receptions last year in 2023. It's a 1-year deal for the 49ers with Thomas for $1.2 million with $300,000 guaranteed. So the Niners now have $32.7 million left in available cap space. Thomas's 24 salary cap number will be $985,000. So it's actually pretty reasonable 2024 salary cap number. And we'll find out if Thomas makes the roster. $300,000 guaranteed, says he probably will, but you never know. Could be a wide open competition at tight end this summer with Mason Pline, Cam Latu, Braden Willis, Jake Tongues, Eric Saubert. I mean, there's some bodies there in that competition. If you said to me, bet on it, I would say Kittle is your number 1 tight end. And I kind of think that Braden Willis is going to wind up at number 2, and Mason Pline is going to beat out Logan Thomas for that 3rd tight end spot. That would be my guess, but maybe not. Maybe Thomas gets it and Pline's a practice squatter. But I think that's what you're looking at. I'd be shocked if Latu won the job just based on what I'm hearing and what I saw last summer. But we'll see. He was talented. He's athletic. They drafted him in the 3rd round at Alabama. We'll find out if he can have a bounce-back summer this summer in Santa Clara. Another 49er note, ex-Niners head coach Mike Nolan is in the news. He is the UFL's Coach of the Year. That's right. Mike Nolan led the Michigan Panthers to a 7-3 record and a playoff berth in the UFL. So he is officially the Coach of the Year. I always thought Nolan was a solid position coach and a good coordinator, but just not head coaching material. But he is in the UFL and he's the Coach of the Year. So way to go, Mike Nolan. Fred Warner, I thought, had one of the more interesting answers Wednesday in Santa Clara when I asked him, of the linebackers, the Niners have three really young linebackers. They have Jalen Graham and D. Winters in year 2. They've got Tatum Bethune in year 1. They have no Dre Greenlaw, most likely for the entirety of the year because of the Achilles rehab. And so I asked Warner, which of the young linebackers looks the best to you or has had the best offseason? And he actually went further than that. He actually said that D. Winters has had the best offseason of any 49er, all positions included, not just linebacker. So obviously he likes what he's seen from D. Winters. And it sounds like Winters is the leader in the clubhouse ahead of Jalen Graham and Tatum Bethune for that, number one contender to Devondre Campbell for Dre Greenlaw's inside linebacker spot. So there you go. Thought that was interesting that not only was D. Winters the most advanced of the young linebackers in the mind of Fred Warner, but he's actually having the best offseason of any Niner offense, defense, special teams, according to Fred. So that was interesting. One of the stories that I thought was really interesting yesterday is that the Niners, the Colts, and the Jets were the three teams that all reached out to the Minnesota Vikings about a potential trade for Justin Jefferson prior to the NFL draft. Minnesota wanted no part of it. They wanted to re-sign Jefferson. Why not? He's one of the best, if not the best receiver going. To me, it's Jamar Chase, probably 1, Jefferson 2, Tyreek Hill 3, something like that. But Jefferson's right there. Him and Chase are 1-2, 2-1, any way you want to slice it. But I did find that interesting that the Niners were one of the teams, and it kind of tells you that they were thinking, hey, if we're going to pay Ayuk $30 million, maybe it would be more. Maybe we'd rather trade Ayuk in a deal for Justin Jefferson and pay Jefferson $35 million. Maybe they feel like Jefferson at $35 million was a better deal than Ayuk at whatever he's going to get, 30 million, 31, 32, whatever it's going to be. I thought that was kind of interesting. There was also a story out today. Coach Yak put it out on Twitter that Louis Riddick of ESPN went on somewhere praising Jacob Cowing, the rookie wide receiver the Niners took in the 4th round out of Arizona. Now, Cowing started at UTEP, finished at Arizona. Riddick described him as lightning in a bottle, which makes me think that he might have read the Scott McCloughan comments on Cowing, because that's exactly what McCloughan said about Cowing. He called him lightning in a bottle. But Riddick went on to say blazing speed. The kid's got great hands. He's got great run after the catch ability, great ability to separate. And he's like, watch out for Jacob Cowing. And I would say the same thing. Cowing is legit. When you have big time collegiate production, which is what he had at UTEP, and it's what he had at Arizona as well. And then you factor in the 4.38 speed and the great workout numbers, right there, you've got the intersection of great production and great athlete. And that, to me, is if you really want to be great at being a general manager, if you really want to be great at finding stars in the draft and free agency, you have to marry those two traits. Production on the field, because it's not a track meet, it's a football game, and you've got to be able to produce, and elite, high-level NFL athleticism. If you have high-level collegiate production on your resume and you ran 4.38 and lit up the combine, you're officially a great prospect, and those are the guys that you want. And I think the Niners really hit on one in Jacob Cowing. We'll see for sure coming up this summer. Another guy the Niners may have hit on is Isaac Guerendo, and there was a pretty interesting article this week where Isaac Guerendo's college coach at Wisconsin compared him to Jonathan Taylor. Now, I did a whole comp video about who each one of these guys reminds me of, and I comped Guerendo to Jonathan Taylor because it's pretty rare that you could find a running back who's 6 feet, 220 pounds, 225 pounds, who runs in the 4.3s. I mean, and that's what Jonathan Taylor was. He ran 4.39 at 226 pounds coming out of Wisconsin. Now, Guerendo also, was at Wisconsin, transferred to Louisville. He ran 4.31 or something like that, or 4.33 at 220 pounds. So in a lot of ways, yeah, Taylor was used a ton. Guerendo was barely used at all. Taylor had unbelievable amounts of mileage on him, on his tires coming out of Wisconsin. Guerendo's got very little mileage on his tires. He's only had one game in his career where he's had 17 carries or more, or 17 touches or more. So They're not the same player, but they are similar when you're talking about just size and speed and kind of running style. Jonathan Taylor runs upright. He exposes his upper body. Isaac Guerendo runs upright. He exposes his upper body. They're more, Guerendo was a former receiver. And he looks like it. He doesn't look like a natural running back. Jonathan Taylor and him both played at the same school, and they both were similar size and both ran in the 4.3s at that size. So I do see the comparison, but I will say this. If Isaac Guerendo is half as good as Jonathan Taylor, it's the best pick in the draft. So let's not go too far comparing these guys, but I did think it was interesting that Guerendo's college coach, when given a full, compare him to anybody you want, said Isaac Guerendo, he reminds me of Jonathan Taylor, because that's exactly who I came up with as well when I did that comp video about a month ago. Another topic, and this might be the lead here, and we've kind of buried the lead, but Albert Breer went on the Rich Eisen show and says he expects the Niners to keep getting calls on Deebo Samuel right up until week 1, right up until the NFL trade deadline in November. And he, as far as Breer is concerned, he thinks the Niners will resist trade offers and hold on to Deebo for the full run of the year. And if they trade him, it will probably be next year. But he also went on to say the Niners may bite if a team, and he suggested maybe the Jets, came along offering a first-round pick. So that's something to watch for throughout the summer and the fall and really into the trade deadline. Is there a team that likes Deebo Samuel enough to offer the 49ers a first-round draft choice for him? And if a team is out there and offers a first-round draft choice for Deebo, will John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan say, well, we got JJ and we got Ayuk and Kittle and McCaffrey, and now we got Cowing, and now we got Pearsall, and everybody looks pretty good. Yeah, we'll take the first-round pick for Deebo, or will they resist that offer and say, no, let's utilize him and try to win the Super Bowl with him? That's going to be one of the stories to watch for throughout the year. But Breer went on the Rich Eisen show and said the Niners are going to keep getting calls on Deebo. Even after they sign Ayuk, they're going to keep getting calls on Deebo. And he's painted a picture that they're going to say no to everybody. But if they do get offered a number 1 draft choice, they may say yes, especially if it's early enough in the year. And the final topic is Isaac Yiadom, who the Niners signed back in March to a 1-year deal, had his best year last year with the Saints, career high in his Pro Football Focus grades across the board. According to what I'm reading and hearing, he's a leading candidate to start opposite Mooney Ward at corner. Yiadom obviously impressed Nick Sorensen. When the Niners signed Yiadom, he finished up his signing by hitting the facility and working out. And Sorensen said you rarely see guys work out on the day they sign their contract, and just shows you how meticulous he is and how serious he is and how focused he is. So he definitely impressed Nick Sorensen by working out after he signed his contract with the Niners. And he's been getting first-team reps on defense with Mooney Ward out with a back and core issues injury-wise. Yiadom's getting a lot of run throughout minicamp as a starter and getting first-team reps on defense. So the Niners are exceptionally deep at corner, and they drafted Renardo Green, which should only make them deeper. But then they signed Isaac Yiadom coming off of a career year with the Saints, and the Niners think they have something in Yiadom, who's a corner with good size, good strength, really good athleticism, and tremendous size. So a guy to watch for this summer for sure in Niner camp. Isaac Yiadom, the free agent signing cornerback from the New Orleans Saints. All right, that does it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.